Whether you're a diehard sports fan, a hopeless romantic, or a comedy aficionado, the Xfinity 10G network was made for streaming it all. Worry less about buffering when streaming your favorite shows, movies, or live sports, and enjoy a better way to watch. Xfinity gives you a reliable connection for streaming, plus all the entertainment you love all in one place. Fear not, because now you can finally sit back, relax, and stream your favorite entertainment and sports like never before with the Xfinity 10G network.
Circle K's new free Inner Circle membership program is all about making it easy to reward you with the things you'll love. Sign up and save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Plus, get every 6th free on a tasty selection of Circle K products. We're talking piping hot pizza, fresh coffee, ice-cold fountain drinks, and more. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
Hockey fans, are you ready to brave the wild? With me, your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Brave the Wild is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podaman, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Audible, Stitcher, Double Twist, and many other applications. Thank you always for downloading and listening to the show. It's a great pleasure to join you once again today. The sky is cloudy, it's raining a bit, this and that. But, well, it's pretty sunny when you talk about the Minnesota Wild and how they played this past week. It's ironic how last week when the Wild were struggling, it was a beautiful sunny day. Derek Felska was on the air. The Wild just didn't look good. Looked like we couldn't get any energy, couldn't get any shots on net. And, well, me and Derek predicted the Wild hopefully, at least like we're hoping to get at least one win against Vegas and Colorado. Well, we wind up with 3 wins and only 1 loss. As Wally Shaver and many a Canadian might say, not bad, eh? 3 out of 4 ain't bad. Not quite the Meatloaf song, but, better. It's actually a higher percentage. Not bad. Speaking of percentages, the Minnesota Wild power play has taken a very good turn for the better. It's a great feeling. So, just before last night's game, as the power play had been improving with consistent power play goals, Wild had at least 1 power play goal in every game this past week. 29th place, 12%, definitely out of the historically bad range, and not in last place in the league. That was going into last night's game. I'm going to refresh this right here and right now. I deliberately saved this because it's like, they hadn't updated it yet, and I refuse to refresh it until it's time. And now it is 29th. Here comes the refresh. 27th, 14.8%. So the Wild move up 2 spots. And almost 3%, 14.8%, because the Wild yesterday were 4 of 5 on the power play. That is off the charts. It's unbelievable territory. So like I said, the Minnesota Wild, that's kind of the first topic of the show here. They had a power play goal in all of the games. Minnesota Wild swept Vegas again, which obviously is a big topic. I think there's a really good chance we're going to face off in the postseason, and I'll give my thoughts on the possibilities in that series. Awesome, though. Wild getting power play goals in every game. 1 for 3 in both of the Vegas games. 2 for 6 in the 5-4 loss to Colorado. And 4 for 5 in the 8-3 demolition of Colorado on April the 7th. Absolutely beautiful. Again, we sweep the Golden Knights, both lower scoring games and all that good stuff, but we swept them. The Wild just kind of matched their moves and got the job done in Vegas. We have our first home game with fans in the building, over 250, up to 3,000 now, and then watch the Avalanche kind of tear us apart, and we have the infamous Furious Rally that comes up short. It just came up short, it just came up short, the Furious Rally. I hate Furious Rallies that don't mean anything. It happens way too often, especially in the, back in just a couple of years ago when the locker room was still what it was. It was extremely irritating. I remember the Dallas series, we had a couple of beautiful Furious Rallies, and we came up just short. I think we squeezed out 1 win, and then at the end of the day, we had another Furious Rally and lost. It's just kind of funny. It became an ongoing gag with Judd Zulgad and such on Score North / AM 1500, all that good stuff. It was an ongoing gag because it was frustrating. It's like, why are you falling behind 4-1 in the first place? God dang it. But the Wild ended up winning, surviving. Minnesota's power play this past week was just exquisite, to say the least. 8 of 17. That's insane. 8 of 17. Obviously a 4 for 5 showing. He's going to boost that up a bit. But it was still very respectable even before that, obviously. It was, 4 of 12. That's, like 33%, right? So, or no, yeah, 25%. That's still very solid. Better than what it had been. Wow, beautiful job by the power play, Minnesota Wild. Even though there were a couple of weird lineups and guys like Cheddar B, as they call him, Tenna B, Cheddar B, whatever you want to call him, and KFAN with the Common Man and such on the Beyond the Pond and the Wild Fan Line with Pat Micheletti, was ranting about the players that were on some of these power plays. And you have both Bonino and Rask on the power play. What are you doing? What for? Why are you having Bonino and Rask on the power play? Those 2 roster spots taken because maybe Rask might help out with the face-off. Maybe. And what other purpose? See, Bonino's one thing. Maybe he'll win a face-off, this and that. Maybe he will. You hope so. But Rask? Okay, that's kind of strange. That's a whole roster spot just wasted. What are you doing? That's a whole spot for somebody else who's probably a better fit. Jared Spurgeon had 3 assists last night. His point totals have gone way up for the past week and a half. He has just been outstanding, to say the least. It seems like yesterday he had 3 points. Now he's at 15 in 37 games, 4 of them goals for Jared Spurgeon. And when Fiala, of course, yes, he had a spectacular game. We're talking about that very shortly. Kaprizov. Fiala would have been the Mike Modano Award winner for last week. The Spurgeon Memorial. I don't even Spurgeon. I just called him Spurgeon. I deeply apologize. The James Shepard Memorial. It was we'll just kind of leave that alone. We'll just say Victor Rask for last week. Lack of production, even though he had a couple of moments. But generally speaking, the guy can hardly hang on to a puck most of the time. And that's kind of the number one complaint. Still can't believe Greg Pattern had 2 assists in the 3 games he played for Minnesota. What a nice addition Ian Cole has been. Wild are 12th in the league and Cole's 4. It's freaking awesome. Absolutely freaking awesome. But now we're the worst team in the league in the penalty minutes, which is kind of weird. We're the worst now. Isn't that weird? Now we're getting the most penalties and all that. Really? It's the ref's fault, though, right? It's the ref's fault. Ref's fault, damn it. I don't know, lack of composure, this and that. Started out April Fools, nice win, 3-2 over the Vegas Golden Knights. Very entertaining, back and forth. I just love these games with Vegas. I just love them. And I love the fact that the Wild have been winning. And Cam Talbot has just been dazzling, this and that. Absolutely great. Again, 37 shots faced, 35 stopped. Robin Leonard also faced 37 shots. But the Wild end up surviving in the shootout. It was a nice, solid victory for Minnesota. We felt like $1 million in that one. Escaping in that situation. It's always scary. Kevin Fiala, the hero at the end of the day in the shootouts, that felt damn good. There were some scary moments, but generally speaking, the Wild come out okay, and with the win. Marcia Shaw was stopped. Matt Zuccarello was stopped. Shea Theodore stopped. Kevin Fiala scores. Alex Tuch, misses. Thank you, Lord, because Alex Tuch, we're still frustrated about that game. A while back, the Parisi extra shift game, double shift game, which got him in big trouble and all that with a lot of us, especially the coach and the general manager. But nice solid win for Minnesota there. 2-1 victory over Vegas. Yep, and we'll talk about Talbot in a moment as well. Generally speaking, seems like he's in net every night. He's faced 28 shots and stopped all of them but one. A 2-1 victory. Marc-Andre Fleury, the Wild end up escaping. Kirill Kaprizov, Joel Eriksson Ek getting the 2 goals in that game. Kaprizov he's just absolutely special. It was a spectacular play once again. Every one of his goals are just like, oh my. It was a tip-in, but it was a great play. An absolutely great play, and it was on the power play as well from Ek and Fiala at the end of the day. Love seeing those 3 guys together, at least on the power play, because ultimately that's the best line you could put together at this moment. It's the best center with the best wingers on the team, obviously. Two wingers that could be in multiple All-Star games, obviously, especially Kaprizov, but I think Fiala is All-Star potential as well. Eriksson Ek will probably never see an All-Star game, but at least he's a solid middle 6 center at the end of the day who's having to play top line and top power play unit at the moment because it is what it is. But hey, good for him. At least he's capitalizing for the most part. Surprising he's only got 7 assists, but well, at least he's scoring goals. That's the positive side for Joel Eriksson Ek, the jewel of a player indeed. It really was a spectacular play. Eriksson Ek kind of a cross-ice pass, and Kaprizov just boom, almost like a slam dunk in a way. It was just a spectacular play, the way they timed it and finished. Absolutely awesome. I just saw Alex Trock drop a F-bomb when he got stopped by Talbot. I couldn't believe what he was seeing. Like, yeah, one of those. But absolutely great. I mean, again, power plays every night. We're not seeing overs, and let's knock on wood there. But love the Wild power play, how it's really, really moved up in a big way. The 5-4 furious rally game, this and that. But generally speaking, let's talk about Fiala and Kaprizov, generally speaking, how they're literally taking charge. Fiala, again, had the hat trick last night. Absolutely spectacular. His first hat trick of his career. Kaprizov had a multi-goal game. It was just almost too much fun. But generally speaking, Fiala and Kaprizov have been factors in every game. Every single game, they've been a factor. They've been the two best players. No question about it. They're the Jordan and Pippen, so to speak. The Crosby and Malkin, whatever you want to say, even though neither one of them is a center, unfortunately. But that's how that goes. They've been taking charge in a big way. I mean, Fiala got his 11th goal in the furious rally game, which put the Wild in position at least to possibly still have a shot at it. It was another power play goal. Absolutely cool. The Wild had 2 power play goals in that third period. Marcus Johansson, who's been playing very well lately, scoring on the power play with Ryan Hartman and Studer. Kind of funny guy. But it is what it is when you have guys on the roster, that aren't, they're not really scorers, so to speak. So they're going to find their way on the power play very often with the way this team is set up. Ryan Hartman had a multi-point game. You got to love that. At the end of the day, Fiala, though, he just seemed to find his way somehow, someway, an assist, a goal in every game this week. He was absolutely spectacular. Kaprizov did not score in the 5-4 furious rally. He was the only guy missing at the end of the day, unfortunately. It was an unfortunate night. Colorado was absolutely great. I mean, it was just another one of those moments where, this is a team that scored 9 goals last week. I mean, they just been crushing people, and the way they just, they've dominated us. They've dominated the Wild, but at least Minnesota survives here. We managed to score 4 goals against Philip Grubauer on only 25 shots. Colorado dominated the puck possession, the complaint that I'd been talking about. Vegas had the puck more than Minnesota in those 2 wins, but the Wild capitalized. And Colorado had the puck more than Minnesota last night, and the Wild capitalized. Grubauer struggled mightily against Minnesota the past couple nights, and that's nice. That's okay with me. Obviously, you feel like $1 million. Ryan Hartman had a 3-point game in the furious rally loss. Bukestad even had a multi-point game. Marcus Johansson had a multi-point game, which is kind of funny. But you just love what you see. You love what you see. Jared Spurgeon's been piling up the assists again. Very happy for him after, again, such a slow start to the season. Fiala, when he finally got his 11th goal, you're thinking, well, it's about time he got into the double-digit range, and he's at that magical number of 11, I guess you could say. Little did we know he had 3 more goals coming against Colorado, because the good news is the furious rally didn't stop. The Wild found something against Philip Grubauer, and it was absolutely great. This is where Fiala and Kaprizov really took charge against the Colorado Avalanche, and 8-3 demolishment of the Colorado Avalanche. I can't believe the Minnesota Wild scored 7 goals against Philip Grubauer, who had been pretty much lethal against the Wild most of the season. Absolutely frustrating. Cam Talbot faced 32 shots. The Wild only had 19 shots on goal the whole game and scored 8 goals on 19 shots. You just sit and think about that. It's insane. 4 power play goals, capitalizing in moments. It's very common that teams are going to have 5 power play chances in a game. It's not that uncommon. But to score 4 goals on those 5 power play chances is pretty damn cool. Despite all of the stuff I'd say about Victor Rask, he found his way to 3 assists in the game, because it's just one of those magical nights when everything's just going right and you feel like $1 million. You feel like $1 million. Kirill Kaprizov, 3 points. Again, 2 goals and an assist. I kept thinking, here comes the hat trick. And then it ended up being Fiala. Fiala had 1 goal in the game, and he wound up getting 2 goals in the third period. It was so wonderful. Kaprizov, again, just every single goal he scores, you come out feeling like, my God, we're so happy to have this guy. We're so lucky. We're so fortunate. Luke Johnson would get his first goal of his career in the NHL, finally, the poor guy. Again, kind of a later draft pick who's been mostly a fringe AHL guy his whole career thus far, 26 years old. Hoping for something, mostly a 4th-line center in the NHL, and a decent, adequate AHL center. Kyle Rao, kind of similar on the wing. He's been getting his minutes, but Victor Rask, again, finding his way to, because he's been on the power play, finding his way to 3 assists. He assisted on Kaprizov's goal. He assisted on Kevin Fiala's power play goal. Ryan Hartman had a turnover and score. And another, just a great play, Kaprizov, just timing it to put the Wild up 5-3 after Colorado had their version of a furious rally after trailing 4-1. They trailed 4-1. Think about it. The Colorado Avalanche were down 4-1. And they had a furious rally, forcing it to 4-3, which is really funny. And then Kaprizov, just a beauty, an absolute beauty. Again, just released the way he released the puck, and Fiala was able to get it to him at the right time, right place. Spurgeon also adding his 11th assist at the same time. And man, and just the power play just dominating for Minnesota. Obviously, Colorado would at least make a couple power play goals in this one as well, because they're Colorado. They're going to find a way. Cale Makar had a multi-assist game. Despite missing a ton of time, he's still got 23 assists on the season. But the Fiala goal, that made us all really come out of our seats, so to speak, if you were at the game or you're at home, was his second goal. The way he just kind of forced a turnover. Somehow Bonino got an assist on the play. I mean, that's awesome. I'm glad he was able to get that. The puck comes out to Fiala, stops it with his skates, he just kind of gets possession of the puck, and the way he's able to just kind of wrist that thing and release it past Grubauer was a thing of beauty. I mean, it was kind of like a Kaprizov goal. The way he timed it and the way he released it, just the way he did it, it was just it was a spectacular play. I can't say enough of how great it was. Obviously, again, Kaprizov's goal was a quick one-timer from Fiala. Kaprizov's second goal. But I think the highlight of the night was Fiala's second goal. And then, of course, Joel Eriksson Ek was able to finish. Parise hitting his 10th assist, fortunately for him. Greenway still piling up the assists. He almost never scores, but at least he gets assists, which is very similar to his collegiate and AHL career, mostly collegiate career for Boston University. Jordan Greenway was always more of a playmaker than a goal scorer throughout his career, and he did play a lot of center in college. And he did have a hat trick once, but, it's hard to imagine Jordan Greenway having a hat trick. But I guess, everybody has their great day, I suppose, if they're good enough to do so. Fiala, again, getting the hat trick, and you feel like $1 million. Kaprizov getting the assist on that one. And I got to put all my hats on the couch there. I have lots of hockey hats on the couch. Atlanta Flames, Hartford Whalers, Minnesota Wild, of course, North Stars, some other hats from other sports and all that. And just flung them in the air one by one onto the floor. And because the best part is I can get them back. I can pick them back up. You throw them on the ice, it's gone forever. Your $30, $40 beautiful hat you just got, or you got like 3 years ago, is gone forever. It's sad. They're giving away to charity, which is nice and everything. But it is depressing to think you will never have your hat back. It's like, shoot, it's gone. But me, I can go right on the floor, pick them back up, and put them back up there because they're mine, damn it. I don't want to lose my hat. I can imagine something happens, like a hat trick. I go to a game and somebody grabs my head and throws it. I'd be like, you're kidding, right? But no, I believe I was at the Wild's first ever hat trick. It was Antti Mietinen. No, not Antti Mietinen. No, it wasn't Antti Laaksonen. Antti Laaksonen had the first ever power hat trick for the Minnesota Wild. I think I was at a Gaborik hat trick once, if I remember correctly. Because I haven't actually been at a game in forever. I've mostly been watching and commenting like this. And hockey looks spectacular on TV, even though being at a game is really cool. It looks spectacular on TV in the HD era anyway, not as much in the past. But yeah, the guy next to me threw his hat on the ice. It was my friend Mike Holzer. Luckily had really nice tickets back then from his father, who's passed on unfortunately since. Great seats back in the day. And the guy next to me did throw his hat on the ice on Laxonen's first hat trick. The first Minnesota Wild hat trick ever. So it's just really exciting to get to see a hat trick happen. And there was no luck involved. There was no crazy bounce. There was no empty net. It was a real power play. It wasn't a true power play. It wasn't 3 goals in a row only by Kevin Fiala. But hey, a hat trick is a hat trick. And hard to believe it was his first, but I suppose he's still very young, and he was injured, this and that, and he's had several multi-point, multi-goal games and all that, but This one finally ended up being the turkey, the three. Like 3 strikes in a row. Finally ended up being the real hat trick, and that was awesome. It was awesome to see, and of all teams to do it against the Colorado Avalanche. Not like, some meh team like Detroit or Ottawa or Buffalo or something like that. You got to do it against probably the best team in the NHL. You beat the Colorado Avalanche in, let's say, the second round of the postseason. There's a good chance you're going to the Cup final. There's a pretty good chance, and pray to God in heaven, you bring it home. Just don't lose. Please don't lose. There's no sarcasm involved with that. It's just a desire, a hunger. Please, don't be the team. Don't be like Nashville. You get there, you on a spectacular run, and you lose, and you never go back. And the Sharks, you never go back. It's so sad. Golden Knights have never gone back. As good as they've been, they've never gone back. You don't want to be the one that loses because it sucks. You don't know when you're going back. You don't know. So that's the sad part. Dallas Stars eventually did, but it was Dallas. Woohoo. It took 8 years to get back, and whatever. Screw the Dallas Stars at this point, and even at that point as well. Shame on me for cheering for them, but I guess the Wild hadn't played yet, so I still felt some loyalty to them. As I ramble on, and I apologize. So I talked about Fiala, Kaprizov. They're just, you got your stars. You have your stars. Kaprizov has superstar potential. Fiala, at least star potential, at least. He's not as consistent as Kaprizov. That's the difference. And he's a year older, this and that, but so what? I still, you appreciate, you thank God for both of them. You really do. Obviously, right now, the most exciting line on the Wild would be the power play line, the scoring line, the top power play unit with Ek, Kaprizov, Fiala, so to speak, Fiala on the right side. But in the future, I was thinking possibly, maybe, depending on what you do with Greenway and such, maybe you let Greenway go to Seattle, this type of thing. Or obviously Susie Dumba. That's a very interesting situation there. One of those 3 guys is probably going to Seattle, if not Talbot. And I'm guessing it's not going to be Talbot going to Seattle. He won't be protected, but I got to think Seattle is not going to take a 33, 34-year-old goalie. I got to think they won't, but I guess you just don't know. You just don't know in this world. Look at Vegas. They took an older goalie, and he's been great. He wasn't as old at the time, but up there. But I was imagining Fiala on the second line with Boldy in the future. Boldy on the left, Fiala on the right, and Benino or somebody at center, somebody new, so to speak, at center. Kaprizov with Zuccarello, I guess, for now, with Ek, something like that. But of course, it's okay to have Fiala with Kaprizov at the same time. Mix them up, shuffle the lines during the game and such. So again, back to Talbot. This will be a little bit shorter because it doesn't need to go on and on and on, really. Talbot as I get to other, the topics and such. Because I'm kind of, I'm letting this show evolve as we go. I think it's wise to kind of have specific topics and such. Obviously, that's something that's common sense, but at times I would just kind of randomly choose them as I'm doing this show rather than have a little more preparation involved. But Cam Talbot obviously continues to dazzle, but I'm thinking, what about Capo? I mean, are you going to put him in ever again? Jeez. And I feel like a complete imbecile cutting Talbot on my fantasy team, by the way. I cut him because Kakinen was doing so well. I actually happen to have both of them. And it's like, I can't have 2 Wild goalies. This is goofy. It's kind of silly. Talbot had been injured. He was on the IL. And then he came back and he struggled. So I figured, okay, Kakinen's been so great. And Talbot, he's, it's probably going to be Kakinen, half of the time. And when he's in there, he's so damn good. So I cut Cam Talbot. Yeah, whoops. And Kakinen hasn't really played since, hardly, except for a couple of games since I cut Talbot. Horrible mistake, but luckily I still have Lankinen and the extremely good young Russian goalie in New York for the Islanders. He's more of a backup as well, but he's damn good. He's their Kakinen, I guess. But yeah, what about Capo? I think you need to get him in there. And I would hope in the back-to-back with St. Louis, don't play Talbot in both games. Don't play Talbot in both games. Please, Dino. I don't care if Talbot gets a shutout on the 9th, because I'm sure Talbot will start on the 9th. Capo maybe on Saturday, pardon me. Sorry for the noise, the train's back again. Welcome to Minnesota Wild Power Play. Hey, Derek, remember when I joked about that last week? Derek and others that were listening. This is the Wild Power Play right here. Welcome to the Minnesota Wild Power Play, the train. That's the lucky train. That means the Wild Power Play is going to continue to dominate, isn't it? Isn't that what that means? So there it is. This time the window wasn't open. Okay, I guess it wasn't either day. It was freezing last week, and today it's kind of nasty and wet. Boom, 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 boom. There they go. There it goes. That's the Wild power play. Canadian Pacific. 22-02. So that's Kevin Fiala, 22, and I don't know about the 02 part. 56. Whatever. 22. Let's just worry about 22. Kevin Fiala coming through, folks. But no, Capo Kakinen needs to start on Saturday. Start Kakinen on Saturday, please. Hands folded. Hands folded right now. You can't see me, but my hands are folded. Please start Capo. At least one of these 4 games coming up at the end of the day. So, it's our final topic. Yeah, it's Greenway struggled a bit, especially in the Colorado game. He's had some not so good moments. He's been quiet a bit, unfortunately. He had an assist this past week, but generally speaking, Greenway's definitely struggled. He's not been the same guy. Is he? I don't want to compare him to Charlie Coyle or anything, but it is what it is. He's still third on the team in scoring because of such an amazing start, and he does get points. He gets his assists here and there. He'll play on the power play, or he just finds his way on the scoreboard with the assist when guys like Jules Eriksson Ekskar on the geek line. But an appropriate top 2 scorers now in the Wild. He finally caught up after a slow start. He's finally caught up. He's finally second place. That would be Scottie Pippen, Kevin Fiala right there. Old Scottie Pippen. Or should we call him Jaromir Jagr to Mario Lemieux up there with Kirill Kaprizov. He's Kirill Kaprizov. 16 goals, 18 assists. And talk about catching up. The goals are catching up with Kirill Kaprizov. He had way more assists than goals, kind of like a Greenway with 5 and 19 there. Now it's 16 and 18 for 34 total points. Only 4 points behind being a point-a-game player. Kirill Kaprizov. Keep it up, buddy. Keep it up. He's a +8 on the season. Fiala's only even. Jules Eriksson Ek is a +10. Carson Soucy is a +17. Marcus Foligno, if he ever comes back, please come back, Marcus. We missed you. He's missed so many games. +13 on the club. Ian Cole is a +13. Oh, Ian Cole. Bring him back. Bring him back. I don't care if he scores only 5 points a year or 12 points or whatever. Bring him back. Bring him back. Bring Bonino back, too. Bring those guys back. They're winners. Bring them back. You don't have to break the bank, and if they want you to break the bank, then I guess you can't bring them back. Bring them back. If it's Bukestad, probably not, but I don't know. Maybe on a 2-way contract. No disrespect. It is what it is, depending on who comes in. Harman might be too expensive. We'll see. The Mike Modano Award winner for this week's show is Kevin Fiala, with a very strong honorable mention to Kirill Kaprizov and Cam Talbot. But Kevin Fiala is going to clinch it. He's just been so nice the last few weeks, and he's caught all the way back up. His assists are catching up with his goals, too, which is good. He's making plays for others. Obviously, he's a multifaceted guy, and he plays 50% offensive and defensive zone now as well. That was brought up on a recent Judd's Hockey Show as a podcast for Score North. It's very interesting to see Kevin Fiala, and you're seeing it out there. Obviously, he's become a better and better defender under his Milwaukee coach, Dean Evison, the Milwaukee Admirals. Your James Schibber Memorial, I guess it's Jordan Greenway. It's a gentle one. I mean, I don't want to bash anybody right now. Great week. Victor Rask got 3 assists last night. Generally speaking, he's been not that great. But hey, he finds his way to assists and such. Suter's dropped off, obviously, but that's how it goes. Age and all that. Suter and Parisi are way down there. 14 points for Suter, 13 for Parisi. I'd like to see Parisi come back, but at the end of the day, just like the question that was brought up a couple of weeks ago about who would be out. I think it was just last week's show. I think it's Parisi. Like, me and Derek were kind of like, I think it's Parisi if somebody was to be eliminated from the roster, or from the active roster, when Foligno comes back, and especially if Boldy ever suits up for Minnesota. But I'm pretty sure Matt Boldy will be in Iowa Wild the remainder of this season at the end of the day. With that said, we will wrap up this main segment and come back and preview 4 games, 3 of them against St. Louis, so that'll be easy. Talk about the prospects, and then get to fan interaction in segment numero 3. We are back here on Brave the Wild, segment number 2. Time to preview a bit and look at the prospects at the end of the segment. St. Louis Blues. We play them 3 games in a row, and I would hope Capo gets at least 1 start out of these 3, and total of 4 here. Probably Saturday, Friday would be tomorrow, of course. St. Louis, St. Louis, St. Louis. 2 games on the road, back-to-back. Friday, Saturday, and then Monday, coming back to the X with fans in the building. Tickets from $212. $212. My goodness, I guess that's what happens when it's more limited. $212. Wow. And St. Louis, 63. They must allow more fans. $487 for a Saturday night game against the Sharks. $487. Okay, at least that's what it's showing on Yahoo. I just can't believe it. My God, my TV didn't cost that much. Luckily, it was like a Black Friday sale, but I don't know. That's the only Black Friday thing I ever did. I couldn't care less about most of that spending spree crap, but I needed a new TV. I wanted a smart. Yeah, okay, get the idea. The Seattle Blues, right? They look like they might be an expansion team right now. Okay, that's mean. They've really fallen off the map, and Binnington's not been real good. He's not been horrendous, but he certainly hasn't been good. Minnesota Wild upper body situation with Nick Bjugstad, Matt Zuccarello lower body. I thought he played last night. He did, yeah. He did play last night. They're still listing him there. And, of course, Marcus Foligno, again, probably most likely a fractured bone on his foot as of March the 12th. So about a month already. And I guess he's skating again, so it must be healed to a point, but then it's not, like, strong yet. Once guys start skating, that's a good thing, but it takes time, obviously, conditioning, and is it strong enough? It probably still hurts like hell, that kind of thing. I mean, it sucks. I'm sorry, Marcus, And it's just amazing how important conditioning really is when it comes to hockey and all that. Oscar Sundqvist, torn ACL as of March 19th for the St. Louis Blues. Mackenzie Ekhern, upper body injury as of March the 14th. So torn ACL for Sundqvist. That sucks. And Carl Gunnarsson, right knee, left the game on Feb 22nd. That's a long time ago, so most likely not a good thing, right there. Crazy to think the Wild had multiple games postponed against the Blues. We played one game. We have 7 remaining. 7 remaining against the Blues. We get these 3 here. One of them had to be the makeup. And then in a 4-day span, we play the Blues. I guess it's a 5-day span. We play the Blues 3 times at the end of the month, and we play them 1 more time. So it's actually, my goodness gracious, 4 games in like 6 days or something like that against the Blues near the end of the month there in the first day of April. Lots of Blues games coming up. The Blues have been singing the Blues until they finally beat the Vegas Golden Knights last night. Impressive win, actually. 6-1 for, okay, let's go back. March 28th, they lost to the Ducks 3-2. They lost to Colorado twice, but in competitive fashion on the road. 3-2 loss and 2-1 loss. That's actually not bad. So at least St. Louis has been respectable in their losses. 6-1 demolition, though, due to the hands of the Vegas Golden Knights, who are probably furious and frustrated because they can't beat the Wild for some reason, which is wonderful. But again, and then they beat the Blues beat the Golden Knights to end their losing streak 3-1. Impressive fashion, to be quite honest. Was Binnington in net? For their sake, I hope so. Yes, he was. He stopped 50 shots. Holy cow. Okay, tell me that's a joke, right? He stopped 50 shots. Is this Jake Allen versus the Wild in Game 1? 2017 with Mike Yeo on the bench. Let's try not to remember that. 50 shots. He stopped 50 shots. Jordan, good job. Good job. I can't imagine how frustrated Vegas was in that game. I mean, Marc-Andre Fleury faced 35 shots, and he was respectable. He gave up 3 goals, but 51 shots, 51, and he stopped 50. Him being Jordan. Bleeping Binnington. Wow. Impressive. Vladimir Tarasenko was able to score, blah, blah, blah. Wow. Okay, that's impressive. I think we've been on the wrong end of those a few times. Just a few times. In fact, way too many times. Extremely frustrating in the past. St. Louis Blues are 18th in goals. Wild are 12th. Goals against, the Wild are 7th. St. Louis is 23rd. Of course, they've struggled until, last night. 24th in the power play, St. Louis, 17.5. Minnesota's 27th with 14.8, but it's a red-hot power play, so I'll put an asterisk next to that. Penalty kill, the Wild are 3rd. St. Louis is 26th. 26th. That's a big difference. It's a 9% difference. That's huge. Penalty minutes, the Wild are the worst team in the league right now. We get the most penalties, and St. Louis is 18th. So, 2 teams that get penalties. Hopefully the Wild can play against the Blues the way we did last time around. And it actually wasn't that impressive of a game. It's just the fact that we won. It felt good and everything. Boy. It's not the easiest matchup in the world, especially if Bennington plays like that. I imagine his save percentage just went up to the moon thanks to that game. Goals against average 2.71. It's reasonable. Save percentage almost 91 now. Because I can imagine it was almost a whole percentage lower before that game. Wow, impressive. 500 on the year is Jordan Bennington. The Blues are only one game above 500 right now and out of the playoffs. So if they're going to make it, they better tear it up, and unfortunately it would be against us. So the good news is, well, we could potentially bury the Blues here in 3 games. Not completely, but potentially bury them. Like, they'll never catch us. Like, we're going to pretty much just about clinch a playoff berth here. Just about, like, unofficially clinch a playoff berth here if we were to sweep them in the 3 games. But even to go 2-1 would be pretty cool. David Perron is almost at a point a game. 38 in 39 games. Ryan O'Reilly, 34 points in 39 games. Both of them have 13 total goals. Braden Shen, solid season, generally speaking. Mike Hoffman was a good addition. But, I don't know. St. Louis, there's just something not right now. They don't look good. They're struggling. They're in the bottom half of every category. Every single category. But, again, very impressive performance by Bennington against the Golden Knights. Insanely impressive. They must not have all been the best shots, the best scoring chances, because sometimes that's how it is. The numbers are just way up on the moon. And who knows, maybe it was just Bennington's night. And he's realizing how, they are literally on the cusp of being knocked out completely here. They got to play us now. Talbot had his 2-0 shutout last time around. We'll see if we can get another one out of all this. I do believe Talbot will start on Friday. Capo will start Saturday. And then it'll be Talbot again on Monday. That's probably going to be the pattern here. Kakanen's got to play at least one game. You can't just go with Talbot like 1,000 games in a row here. Obviously, it's not been like that, but we don't want to turn him into a Dubnyk. We don't. His personality is not that of a Dubnyk. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for that. And I mean that sincerely, because, me and Derek talked about it last week. Dubnyk was not a good teammate, generally. He probably could be, but generally he wasn't. He sent all the wrong signals, and he did it way too many times. Talbot and Kakinen are sending all the right signals, and it's stuff like that really helps in the locker room. It's why we don't get into long losing streaks. It's why you don't see players just kind of looking for themselves out there, like it was the case a lot of times in the past, except for in the furious rallies. We're going to pull off a miracle comeback that falls short, but at least we tried. That nonsense. I think the Wild go 2-1 against the Blues. I cannot pick a 3-0 sweep. I want to. Boy, do I want to. But I can't. St. Louis is desperate. St. Louis is hungry. Bennington is looks like he's turning the corner. Maybe. Maybe it was just one night, though. But I feel the Wild, let's say if, I don't know. Either Friday or Monday. But I think Capo is going to have a really good game. I think he might actually get a shutout or keep the Blues to 1. Capo's got to be hungry. He's got to be ready to go. And I think he's going to have a really good Saturday. I think that one I am picking the Wild to win for sure. I'm going to go with the Wild defeat the Wild defeat the Blues in the first 2, and then the Blues beat the Wild something like 3-2, 3-2, 3-1, 2-1, low scoring game on Monday. Most likely guy to score on Friday will be Fiala. Saturday will be Kaprizov, and Monday, let's go with. It's a tough choice. Maybe I'll go with Jules Eriksson will score, but the Wild end up not winning. It'll be kind of a frustrating 2-1, 3-2 type of game. Maybe 3-1, empty netter for St. Louis. But the Blues end up winning 1 game out of the 3. So now I move on to the Arizona Coyotes, who are in the postseason right now because the Blues have dropped off and Arizona's playing a little bit better. 3 games above 500 in a lot of situations. A team like St. Louis or teams like Arizona would not be in the postseason. They have a pretty decent goalie tandem, but they have a goalie trio. I kind of like Aiden Hill. A lot of people kind of push him to the side. Antti Ranta, I always liked him. I thought he was a wonderful addition to Arizona, but he's been lousy ever since he suited up for them. Goals against average is over 3. Great save percentage, but I guess he's been snake bit. Darcy Kemper, as funny as this might sound, he's the franchise goalie for Arizona. Yeah, I know it sounds funny, but only as a Minnesota Wild fan it sounds funny. As an NHL fan, it's like, yeah, he's pretty damn good. Jacob Chychrun has just been unbelievable. What a wonderful addition. What a wonderful, addition from within as he's developed. He was a prospect that developed into something pretty damn good for the Arizona Coyotes. Jacob Chychrun, 29 points, 12 goals. 12 goals. What the hell? Only one of them was on the power play, but 8 assists were on the power play. Come on, get him on the power play more often, damn it. What are you doing, right? Okay, well, it is what it is. I'm surprised 11 of his goals were in regulation, or in full strength, excuse me. Full strength. That's strange, man. It's weird. Phil Kessel and Derek Brassard are leading the team in power play goals with 4 each. Tristan Dvorak has got 5, excuse me. But, but Oliver Ekman-Larsson has more power play points than Jacob Chychrun. Still, Jacob Chychrun's been wonderful on the power play. Just weird that he doesn't have his goals. Strange. Darcy Kemper, 2.29 goals against average, but he has struggled against Minnesota historically. Adin Hill has been a little bit of a trap against the Wild in the past. He's not bad. He's a nice young prospect for Arizona. I think he's the goalie of the future, long term, eventually, or at least a nice solid backup for a long time, who ends up being a starter eventually for the Arizona Coyotes. They have been playing a bit better. They've won 3 out of their last 5. As they try to bring them up here, April 14th, that would be Chloe the Cat's 31st birthday. Okay, who cares? Yeah, I know none of you care, right? If she was still alive. Wild beat the Arizona Coyotes. Wow. Well, if it was a playoff series, the Wild have won in 5. 4 games to 1. 5-1 victory in the first game. 5-2 demolition derby. Arizona crushed us. I think Adin Hill was in that, maybe. Minnesota Wild shut out the Arizona Coyotes. I do believe that was Kakinen. And then a 4-1 victory over Arizona semi-recently. A 3-0, the most recent one. That was most likely Talbot, if I remember. Yeah, it was Talbot recently. 3-0. We've beaten Arizona pretty damn good. Just that one 5-2 crushing a while back was our only loss. Arizona is, like I said, 3 out of their last 5. They lost to Colorado. That was the one, the 9-goal game. Good God. Good God. It must have been Antti Ranta. It probably was. He probably faced about 70 shots in that game, too. 9-3 demolition derby. Colorado over Arizona, saying, you're not making the playoffs, and if you do, guess what? Get your brooms out. Get your brooms out. You're out of here. We got the dustpan waiting and all that. We're going to... Yeah, you get the idea. Wow. Well, that's probably about how that series would go, sadly. I think Arizona would get swept or beaten in 5. It would be like Wild versus the Blackhawks in our first playoff series in a while. You know, remember that? When it was 5-1 and Colorado just stomped all over us. That was crappy. But at least we made it. Yay. 9-3. Okay, April 2nd, 4-2 win for Arizona, 3-2 win for Arizona 2 days later on April 4th. April 5th, back-to-back, 5-2 win over the LA Kings, and then they lost to Los Angeles last night, 4-3. I got to look at that 9-3 demolition, though. That's harsh. There's no way there was only one goalie in the net in that night, though. There's no way, right? Adin Hill? What the heck, man? What the heck? What the heck, Adin? You gave up four goals and 6 shots, and they took him out, and then who was that? The 4th guy with the Russian name gave up the rest. Ouch. I gave up 5 goals and 28 shots. Oh, Adin, what happened? Yeah, Ivan Prosvetov. Adin, what happened, buddy? What happened, Adin? Aye. Jonas Donskoy got a hat trick in the game. Landeskog 2 goals. Yeah, you get the idea. Screw the Avalanche. Cale Makar, no points. Come on, Cale. You're on my fantasy team, buddy. Come on, Cale. Let's go. Okay. No points. Wow, man. Cale Makar, no points. I think the Wild beat Arizona, though. It's a wonderful matchup. It could be a trap game. It really could. We'll see. Jordan Osterley, undisclosed injury. That's nice. April the 5th. Tyler Pitlick, former Gopher Tyler Pitlick, lower body injury as of the 25th of March. Nicholas Hjalmarsson, the former Blackhawks standout defenseman, not a scorer, but an unbelievable, solid stay-at-home defenseman, out with the upper body injury as of March the 23rd. So it's been about a week already for that guy. Nicholas Hjalmarsson, remember? Connor Garland's leading the club in scoring with 30. Chychrun with 29. Clayton Keller, who was supposed to be a franchise player for them, is not really bad. And he's okay. 29 points in 40 games. He's just good. Tyler Pitlick, the former Gopher and Minnesota connection, 11 total points, 6 goals in 33 games. Alex Goligoski former Gopher defenseman. 10 points, 1-9. So goals versus assists, so to speak, during his time. And Johan Larsson, former Buffalo Sabre and Minnesota Wild prospect, who was traded in the Pominville trade many, many moons ago. 10 points. Johan Larsson getting to double digits. The fourth line center for the Arizona Coyotes and Buffalo Sabres. Getting to double digits. All right. That's what kind of career it's been for him. I'm just being honest. Getting to double digits is something for Mr. Johan Larsson. He was a pretty disappointing second-round pick long term there. With that, Minnesota beats the Arizona Coyotes. 5-3. We're going to score some goals in the game. Maybe we'll go with 4-2. Minnesota beats Arizona 4-2. Most likely guy to score. Does Zach Parise find the back of the net finally again? I'll say yes. Zach Parise will find the back of the net again for the first time in forever. But he will score against the Arizona Coyotes. Wild win 4-2 and go 3-1 again against St. Louis and Arizona. And you got to take advantage of this situation and bury these teams. So, there's no doubt whatsoever the Wild missed the playoffs. Wild are not going to miss the playoffs. There's no doubt whatsoever the Wild make the playoffs, to say it more correctly. Let's get to the prospects now, eh? And as per usual, we'll open things up with the Iowa Wild, if humanly possible. As unfortunately, pretty much all of the Euro Leagues are wrapped up, that postseason and such. Like a Brennan Mantle, he had 7 points in 5 playoff games, but it's all over. 38 points in 47 games for Dynamo Minsk, so we're done with that at the moment. So the Euro Leagues are quiet now, unfortunately. It is what it is. Hey, at least they played. Iowa Wild would be nice if I could get that up as I dance all over the place. Bryce Misley, couple of points for Bryce Misley. Very happy for him. A goal and an assist so far for the Iowa Wild. It is a very happy time for me because, I like seeing Bryce Misley succeed. I felt bad for him. It wasn't going so well in the University of Vermont. Already 2 points in 5 games in the professional level. So, hey, hoping for the best there. Gabriel Dumont continues to lead the club. A point-a-game guy. Again, he's kind of like Cal O'Reilly last year for the club. And nice to see Gerald Mayhew getting some action again, as he'd been pretty much a taxi squad guy, so he hadn't been playing at all. 8 points in 10 games for Jerry. Old Uncle Jerry Mayhew there. Uncle for some people, I guess. Mason Shaw continues to be productive. Solid. Obviously, again, the 3 ACLs over the course of his career. That's always brought up. He's been very productive for Iowa. 10 points in 16 games. Kalen Addison just continues to be spectacular. 14 points in 17 games. He's had several multi-point games, usually assists, but now he's starting to score some goals as well. Had a very solid week. Hunter Jones. Remember last week when I was celebrating Hunter Jones getting all the way down to only 1 goal and a victory for Iowa? He had a shutout this past week. Hunter Jones has gone full circle for the Iowa Wild. Derek Barabo obviously has not been playing. It's just been Hunter Jones every night. Joel Rumble has not been playing. Rumpelstiltskin Joel has not been playing. Hunter Jones, 12 games. Incredible experience for him, and good job. Way to stick with it, Hunter. I mean, seriously. And that was against a pretty solid team, too. Kept Rockford down to 1 goal, and now the shutout. I believe that was Texas. I'm getting them mixed up, but they got the shutout one way or another very recently. Save percentage is still questionable. Goals against average is 4.21. You look at that and it's like, yeah, but think about it. His first couple of games, he gave up like 11. He gave up like 15 goals in his first 2 games or something like that. It was harsh. It might even be like 17. And I'm not trying to be a jerk and exaggerate. It's just the way it was. It was rough. But way to stick with it. 19-year-old Hunter Jones, who would have been in the OHL right now. OHL. And he's in the AHL. Slight jump there. Slight. But great job. Connor DeWare, everybody praises what he can do out there, including Derek Velska and such. He's out there in all situations. Power play, penalty kill. He scores. He's been wonderful. Second on the team in goals with 14 points in 18 games. Connor DeWare, a lot of people do believe he will be with the Minnesota Wild someday. Manitoba, he's from Manitoba, just like Kalen Addison is a whole year younger than him. And Damien Giroux continues to step up and play very well as well. Very cool. 14 points for him. Also from Sudbury, Ontario. It's like the Sudbury Wolves, right? Mitchell Chave is only 22, and he's got 10 points. And they're all assists for him so far. No goals, and he's a forward. Crazy. The right winger. Tyler Sheehy, the former Gopher standout. Just a minor leaguer right now, unfortunately. Only 5 points in 13 games. He's been banged up a bit. Nice to see Mr. Louis Belpedio playing, but he's been, mildly productive. 3 points. He had a point this past week. Happy for him there. He was able to score his first goal. That's good. And again, Bryce Misley, as I'm pronouncing it correctly, finally, he scored his first professional goal. Good job. In only 5 games, he's got 2 points already. Very thrilled for number 9, Bryce Misley of the Iowa Wild. Good job. Dmitry Sokolov has all but completely vanished. Man, I was so excited about him. Sudbury Wolves and all that. And the other teams he got to play with. 22 years old still, but only 4 points in 14 games. Been banged up, and it's kind of sad. I feel bad about that. I'm dagnabbit. I like him, so that kind of sucks. I like Sokolov. I had hopes for him, but I don't know, man. Talk about college here in a second. Hovanov, guys like that, all waiting. Jack McBain's season is over, of course, with Matthew Boldy will be debuting with the Iowa Wild tomorrow night. All right, Matthew Boldy, let's go. So let's go. Sounds like a really nice kid too. He was on the radio twice this past week, I believe, with PA, and then with Beyond the Pond. Really cool. Really like him. Sounds like a really nice kid, and multiple relatives follow the Brave the Wild Twitter. What an honor. Thank you so much for those of you if you just happen to be listening. If you just happen to be listening, God bless you, and God bless Matt Boldy. Hope the career is awesome. I really do. Ryan O'Rourke, by the way, 6 points. The young prospect who's been in the AHL all year as well, because the OHL is just not, they're not going to play. It's April already. They're not going to play, so they got some professional experience, Ryan O'Rourke and Hunter Jones. Good for them. Damian Hunt, the WHL has been playing, which also means Mr. Spokane Chiefs, Adam Beckman. But let's get to Damian Hunt first. He has been insanely productive. How about Damian Hunt after being, he was adequate his first couple of years with Moose Jaw, and then he was in the Manitoba Junior Hockey League for a spell. He had 5 points in only 3 games. He's got 10 points now for the Moose Jaw Warriors, 5 goals, 5 assists. He's a -8 though, so they must be struggling. But he's putting up the points. Good job, Damian Hunt. Might be a wonderful 3rd-round pick for Minnesota. Sometimes I forget. He was a 3rd-round pick. That's kind of high. 3rd round. Huh. I always thought of him as a little lower, but I guess the Wild were trading around all over the place. So, yeah, Pavel Nowak's the 5th-round pick, and his season's over. He was all right. He was solid in the postseason there, but I think he's got a ways to go, unfortunately. First off, of course, his season's been over for a long time. Adam Beckman, one of the feature presentations. He had a couple of points last night in a victory for the Spokane Chiefs. He's now at 7 points in 8 games. His production is climbing. Good for him. 4 goals, 3 assists, and he is a -8. What's going on with the Chiefs? He was a +44 last year. They must be sucking. +44. So, unfortunately, an extremely late start to the season. I don't even know when their season's going to end, how long it's going to go. Probably not nearly as long as it would normally. Not enough time to get to 100 points this year. Let's see if he gets to 40 or 50, depending on the amount of games for Adam Beckman. Obviously, it looks like a potential stud, though, long-term for Minnesota. Still 19 years of age. He turns 20 on May the 10th, does Adam Beckman. Looking forward to a long, productive career in the NHL, hopefully. Hopefully, as a middle six, if not a top liner type of guy, top six or something like that. Really looking forward to seeing what he can do as we move forward. With that, we'll talk a bit about the Frozen Four. You got Sam Henches. I think it's Henches because, well, there's the vice president of operations at Boston Scientific was named Dale Henches. He's no longer with that building, but so I would think it's Henches. Everybody calls him Henkes, but maybe it's a different version of the name. I have no idea. Doesn't matter, does it? Obviously, Boston College got eliminated, but UMass, there will be no Philip Lindbergh, and their scorer won't be available either. Philip Lindbergh is out with COVID-19. Can you believe it? Going into the Frozen Four versus the Duluth Bulldogs. I keep wanting to call them the Blue Devils. I'm crazy. He had a career high in goals against average, career best in goals against average, 1.33. 4 shutouts. Wow. And he was really good in the tournament. The couple games he played in, 9-1 on the year was Philly Lindbergh. We'll see if he goes back next year to college. I'm thinking maybe goals against average under 2 his entire time there. Save percentage way up in like 93 plus. Espoo, Finland native. I wrote my very first Gone Puck Wild column about Philip Lindbergh. Check it out if and when you feel like it. Wow, I feel terrible. It would have been nice to see him maybe knock off Duluth and go to the final game against St. Cloud or Mankato. And it's just not going to happen. They have a capable goalie in Matthew Murray as long as he's healthy. And we'll see. At least they're fortunate there. Trevingo, I believe, is the one that's out, and that's a crying shame. Or is it that Carson? Yeah, with 17 goals. That's who it is. 17 goals in the season. He's also out. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough go. If UMass Amherst is going to win a national championship, it'd be quite a gutty performance if they're able to survive the two-time national champion Duluth Bulldogs. Obviously, Nick Swaney is playing in either his last or second last game. This is tonight, by the way. The Frozen Four is tonight, the 2 games, and then the final is on Saturday. Lakeville, Minnesota, just like Neil Nate Dogg Thiesing. His name is still on the title, and it always will be. Always will be. The former co-host of the show who passed away on February 7th, 2018. God rest his soul forever, man. Nick Swaney. 27 points in 27 games. He was a point-a-game player. Like Derek was saying, though, yeah, it was a career high in points and everything. But, yeah, he puts up so many shots and he doesn't score a whole lot. But I think he's a capable guy. And it's nice that he does shoot. That's a good thing. Maybe he's like Parisi, where he'd get like 9 shots and hopefully he gets 1 goal out of it. Hopefully. But I like Nick Swaney. He's been clutch. He's had some big moments here and there. He's one of the leaders of the club. He's got alternate captain. And we'll see what happens. Minnesota Duluth, good luck to them. Scott Sandlin going against Ryan Sandlin potentially in the championship game. Should Mankato and Duluth face off for the final. Would be really something. Nick Swaney did lead the club in scoring, tying with Jackson Gates, both of them getting 27 and 27. I'm a big fan of Nick Swaney. Hoping for the best there. Ryan Fanti is the main goalie there. Obviously different from Shepard a year ago, but still a chance to be spectacular. Fanti actually was the one that took over, wasn't he, in that big moment? Zach Stetzel was worn out, and then Fanti took over, and he was great down the stretch. It's kind of been back and forth because Stetzel's been super good late in the season and such. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens in these 2 games, Duluth and UMass. I'm thinking Duluth wins. If they can get past North Dakota, I guess they're going to win. Like it or not, Duluth's going to win the game and go to the championship, and we'll see what happens. Mankato St. Cloud is a different story. Sam Henches, we'll see. Obviously, he's been all over the place. He's a gritty, tough guy. He was on PA the other day. Pretty cool guest, actually. 16 points in 27 games. His numbers have not been as good. It was, he's just been down a bit this year, unfortunately. But he's a gritty, solid player. He's hopefully got a future. I mean, he'll be in the AHL for sure. We'll see how well he translates. He was a 7th round pick. So was Swaney, to be fair. But I think Swaney might have NHL potential. Henkes, however you want to say it, might, maybe. St. Cloud State, can they gut it out and beat Mankato? I think it's a Sandlin final, folks. I think Mankato's the toughest team to beat, and I got a feeling they're going to win the national championship. I got a feeling Mankato's going to win the national championship. So just in case, Black Space Gaming, Sebastian Barton's listening, as he wanted to tease me about how they're way better than us and stuff. Yeah, this year it looks like it. I got a feeling Mankato wins the national championship. They've been so difficult. The only team they struggled against really was Quinnipiac, and they survived. They overcame. They're kind of like maybe this year's Washington Capitals in a way, where the Capitals just couldn't get past the frickin' Penguins, and then they finally did, and they won the Cup. And if the Wild ever got past the bleeping Blackhawks, they probably would have won the Cup too. But we didn't. Just like the Twins with the World Series and the Yankees and all that. Well, guess what? The Twins didn't have to worry about the Yankees in 91 and 87. The Twins were way the frick better than the Yankees in those years. I think Mankato wins the national championship this year. That's just my guess. But it'd be pretty crazy to see Minnesota Duluth, though, be the first three-peat in 70 years. 70-ish. And my goodness. Well, it could happen. If anybody can do it, it's Minnesota Duluth. They're consistent, they're tough, they're solid. If anybody can beat Mankato, it's Minnesota Duluth. I don't think St. Cloud does. A lot of people think St. Cloud's going to win the game. Not from what I saw. I think Mankato goes to the championship versus Duluth, and I think Mankato wins. That's just my guess, but we'll see. So Duluth would actually have 2 losses to bookend their little miniature dynasty here. Well, it's not miniature, it is a dynasty. They lost with Carson Soucy, then they won the 2 in a row. They didn't get to finish last year, and then maybe they finish it off with a loss, unfortunately, this year to Mankato. We'll see what happens. With that, we'll take a break and get to fan interaction. We are back here on Brave the Wild, segment number 3. It's time for fan interaction. That means it's all about you guys. That's crazy Gopher coach Glenn Mason used to say, you guys are the ones that speculate. No, yep, that's what we do in the media. We speculate, though I might not be typical media for multiple reasons. At Brave the Wild, Brian Herrera is going to lead things off because he didn't put hashtag BTWMN, so I don't want to lose it. So it's like right here on the top. Let's just go right away. And it's an interesting question at the very least. He says, if Talbot gets taken in the expansion draft, will the Wild give Hunter Jones a look at backup or look for a journeyman backup? I think they're going to go for the latter at that stage. If they end up losing Cam Talbot to Seattle, I don't think he's going to get picked up by them. It's going to probably be Greenway, Soucy, or Dumba, depending on who gets protected and such. And I think it's Dumba. Unless we're able to trade Dumba away first to a different team, not to Seattle. Don't let them rip us off. like the Vegas Golden Knights did. But I Dumba, we're going to probably we're going to try to get something for him, and then it goes down to Greenway versus Soucy, I'm thinking. I think those are the two guys that are most likely to go. And the hope is there maybe we could protect more players if, say, Ryan Suter can waive his no-move clause so we could protect Dumba or Soucy, but probably Dumba, unless Dumba's traded away anyway. We'll see. Because I got to think we're going to need an open spot for Kalen Addison at some point. Kalen Addison's doing really well in the AHL already. That's a great sign. And then, of course, Zach Parise. I mean, they're not going to get taken. With those contracts and their age, and especially Parise, he's not going to get taken by the Seattle Kraken. There's just no way. Talbot might get taken. I mean, it's not impossible. Obviously, we've seen veteran goalies do well on these expansion teams. Obviously, but Minnesota, I don't think we got Manny up through expansion. Jamie McLennan we did. Manny we did not. We took Terreri, the former New Jersey Devil goalie. Chris Terreri, I think was his name. And then Mike Vernon, the legendary Calgary Flames goalie. And we released him right away. I'm not sure what the point of that was other than just to take somebody, and then just release him right away. We didn't want the contract or the age, and he went out at a very strong final season with the Calgary Flames. He went back to Calgary for one final season and did very well, Mike Vernon. I don't think Talbot gets taken by them, but I guess you never know. I don't know. Fleury obviously was a really big name already, and he was frustrated because he was being a backup to Matt Murray in Pittsburgh after winning a couple of cups there with Matt Murray. And that Fleury got the first one with Pittsburgh in 2009. The new group anyway. Obviously Lemieux got a couple before that with Tom Barrasso. Sorry, but I don't believe Talbot gets taken. And if Hunter Jones, I don't think he's ready to be an NHL backup yet. But hey, he might be able to stay in Iowa. We'll see. But I'm sure there's going to be. I'm sure there's still a rule where he'll have to play in the OHL next year, which is kind of crazy. He'll probably freaking dominate though, most likely. Obviously, his age is so young, but there's been no OHL, so he's been on loan all year. Cool question though. Cool question. Thank you, Brian, and welcome again to the show. I appreciate you. I just cannot shake this cough. I shook the cold almost a week ago, but the cough just won't go away for some reason. Jay Bushy, welcome back to the show, Jay. He says, and again, hashtag BTWMN, hashtag BTWMN. It will be in the show description as well. Jay says, now that we're starting to hear better reports that Rossi is doing better, do you feel he's better playing with Cap or Fiala? With his skill set and Fiala's needs, so to speak, and Kaprizov's ability to kind of make plays for himself, I'll say Fiala. And of course Rossi is most likely to be a second-line center starting things out. Not because he's not top-line material, and not because Fiala's not top-line material. And of course you want to balance the roster, this and that, balance the top six, where hopefully you get to a point where the top six is so good, it's like either one could be considered the top line anyway. Hopefully it gets to that point someday, like a Boldy, Fiala, guys like that with Rossi. Ooh, that'd be good. And then maybe start off things with, depending on if somebody else emerges or you make some trade and get super fortunate somehow, or free agent acquisition, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins or something crazy like that. Could center Zuccarello and Kaprizov on a line. I mean, who knows? Maybe that'll be considered the number two. Who knows? But Rossi, Fiala, Boldy someday sounds pretty exciting, actually. Cool question. Thank you for that. Obviously, there. That was a nice one. So, that was super old. Wow, why is it showing ones from 2020? Sheesh. Ty Sandstrom. Did I read this last week? I better have. Or this is a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to read this. For some reason, I feel like I didn't see it. I apologize if I didn't. So just in case. Ty Sandstrom says, why aren't the Wild just throwing out their natural... Oh, okay, yeah. He's talking about getting up. I remember reading that one a few weeks back. I wish this would just go in chronological order, but it doesn't. So bear with me as I continue to dig. Man, that's frustrating. March 24th. But that's how it goes. Unless nobody asked any questions. I know I could at least get something going via the notifications. There's a lot going on in there, actually. What is going on here? With that said, though, I'm just going to keep going here. Again, oh, here we go. Finally, right when I was going to have change the topic for a second. I'm starting to sweat here. Derek Felska says, with the New York Islanders trading for veterans Travis Zajac and Kyle Palmieri, I remember that name. We had the other version of Palmieri. It wasn't any good. Not that guy, as the other one years ago. Does that pretty much close the door on any possibility of the Minnesota Wild trading the currently unhappy Zach Parise? I think so, unfortunately. I think so. Unless there's some other team out there that... I don't know. Yeah, I don't think Ulu Amarillo is going to make that move anymore. Unless, again, it's just dead contract for dead contract. Literally Andrew Ladd for Parise. Because they're talking about, that'd be a pointless trade. Well, I mean, I don't know. That might be what's going to happen at this point at best. You're going to probably get a dead contract in return. Just like Parise's just about a dead contract already at this stage. It kind of sucks, doesn't it? But, it's how it goes. Derek Felsa continues, at Crease and Assist. Again, great writer for Crease and Assist. He created that hockey blog, him and his wife. Teresa Ferries says, well, that's interesting. She writes usually the previews for the Wild games, and then Derek Felska writes the reviews, and then obviously other articles during the course of the season and off-season and such. I think Teresa, February 24th, I'm beginning to wonder if I actually read this one. Is the Renaissance of the... Okay, yep, Los Angeles Kings, yep. I think they'll stumble while it matters, yes. Derek Felska says, while the pandemic has brought a lot of changes, are there any changes to the NHL format that you'd actually keep? If so, which ones? Some people might not like the divisions. I kind of think they're kind of cool. Oh, boy. Any changes to the NHL format you'd actually keep? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm trying to think now. Because, I mean, I don't want to just be stuck playing the same division all year. I don't think anybody likes that. You want to be able to say Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Montreal, Calgary. I mean, I can't believe we're not even playing Calgary. It's weird. I miss playing the Calgary Flames, Vancouver Canucks. So I would not keep that, obviously. No fans in the building. You're definitely not going to keep that. But, that's just me. That's just me. Don't get mad at me for saying that. Well, obviously there's some fans now. I'm trying to think now. Like, what would I keep? I'm not sure. It would be kind of cool if it just became like Campbell and Prince of Wales Conference again, in a way. Where, I mean, obviously the Eastern Conference became the Prince of Wales, so to speak. That's the trophy they get, and we get the Campbell Trophy here in the West. It was kind of cool, though, where there was no West and East, but the travel, this and that. That's the last thing you want is more travel. So, I don't know. I think I'd go back where we were, if we can. If we're allowed to, I think I'd go back where we were. It's seeming to be okay for the NFL and baseball. Obviously, players and NBA. Obviously, players get sick and this and that. The one thing I'd keep... Okay, here we go. The one thing I would keep is we play the same team together more often, especially division rivals, like back-to-backs against the same club, or like, say, Thursday, Saturday, Wednesday, Friday. That I'd keep, where we're playing the same team closer together, in like little mini-series. That I'd keep. I'd keep the mini-series. It's less travel. It builds rivalries. I mean, look at Minnesota and Vegas. Did you ever consider Las Vegas a rival? Well, they're a rival now. They are a rival. There's no question about that. It's really cool. In Colorado, they're a rival too. Regardless if they got 2 cups and we don't, they're a rival because we knocked them out twice in the postseason in the past. They are a rival, if they like it or not. They can laugh at us until the cows come home. They are a rival, and they have not won the Stanley Cup since we've beaten them in the playoff series, even back to 2003. So they cannot argue that. So I would keep that. That's the one thing I'd keep, is the closer schedule. But of course, I want to be able to play everybody again, at least twice. Home, away, Pittsburgh, Montreal. You could go on forever. Montreal, Canadiens, Toronto Blue Jays, Maple Leafs. I'm just teasing. Toronto Maple Leafs, Calgary Flames. I missed it, man. Boston Bruins. We had some interesting games against the Bruins. And, of course, North Star history. We all know about that 40-year-old memory there. That's pretty fascinating. So, great question. Thank you very much indeed. Derek again, and we get to hear from Justin Bakke again. That's going to be great. Thank you. Well, great to have him back. And thank you, Derek, for bringing him back as well, in a way, by, like mentioning him and such. Always appreciate that. And Justin, I understand you're busy and all that. We're all busy, aren't we? Yeah, I mean, I'd have a hard time keeping up with everyone's show, and I apologize if I sound demanding. Please join the show. Derek Felska says the NCAA Frozen Four is supposed to wrap up this weekend. 3 out of the 4 teams feature Minnesota Wild prospects. Which of those prospects do you think will have the best weekend, even if their team may end up not winning at all? I'm going to go with Nick Swaney. I was going to say Philip Lindbergh. I had a feeling he might have been a hero and win the national championship. But guess what? He's out. I was going to say Philip Lindbergh. But obviously, already by the time this was posted from Derek, Philip Lindbergh was already out. So, unfortunately, there will be no Philly Lindbergh, which really sucks. I think it might have been right about the same day, actually. The April 7th, April 6th. I think it was the same day. It was very recent. I'm going to go with Nick Swaney. I think he's going to be a possible hero here. Too bad Mankato doesn't have a wild prospect. We never have we, in Mankato? Mankato and North Dakota, teams like that have been really big time. Denver, I think we had Zucker. I think Jason Zucker was on Denver, if I remember correctly. That's one of the great dynasties of college hockey historically. Denver, North Dakota, Wisconsin's got 6 national championships. God, what is Wisconsin not ahead of us in? World Series, which is great. We appreciate that. No World Series for Milwaukee, except when they were the Milwaukee Braves way back in the day. They won at least one World Series, but we're still ahead even with that. Ha. But Packers, Badgers in every freaking sport, even hockey. I can't believe it. Bull crap, isn't it? I think they don't have a baseball team, though, if I remember correctly. Yeah, because they put more money in the other teams, and those teams are doing great. Nick Swaney, sorry, long story longer. Justin Bakke, I babble too much, but I enjoy it sometimes. Justin Bakke of Sound the Foghorn, and of course MNW Prospects. Very proud to be a part of that page. Justin Bakke keeps up with, I think he's the college guy. And then Brandon Quast is the AHL guy. ECHL guy when it comes to the page. Pablo Manette's the Euro. He keeps up with the Euro, and of course all 3 of them kind of keep up with all the stuff, but those are the guys that officially write for those pages, and I'm the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League and BCHL, and both of those leagues have not been playing. So, but very proud to be a part of that page. Apologize, I've been invisible, but the 2 leagues I cover have not been visible. Okay, Justin Bakke says, and of course he's a Minnesota Duluth fan, and good luck this weekend. Good luck this weekend, Justin. If you're, depending on when you're listening, maybe Duluth's already 3-peated. How disappointed are you that Lindbergh won't be playing in the Frozen Four, and do you see him coming back his senior year? Are you getting the feeling that 11's days are numbered here? That would be crazy, yep. Do you think Boldy gets some time with the pro team this season? First, with Lindbergh, I'm very disappointed. I'm very sad. I had a feeling he might have been the outstanding player of the tournament. I had a sneaky feeling Lindbergh was going to be the guy of the tournament. But now I guess not. It might end up being Nick Swaney. Maybe Matthew Murray will help save the day. But I know nobody on earth listening wants UMass to win, but I would have been okay with it if Philip Lindbergh was the goalie. I'm fond of that guy. I think he's going to be great. He's going to be at least an outstanding backup. It's just there's something about Lindbergh. He's just so good, so steady. Am I getting the feeling 11 days are numbered here? Yes. Zach Parisi's days are numbered. I got to think his production has vanished off the face of the earth. I mean, Suter's days are numbered as well, eventually, but at least he's still fairly productive. And he's got the quick trip commercials, too, where he looks very sincere when he is stirring up that food but never takes a bite. Sincerity. Do I think Boldy gets some time with the pro team this season? No. I'm going to say no at this moment. I could be wrong, but I'll say no. I think they want to let him kind of get his feet wet with Iowa first. maybe at the very last second just for the postseason. That would be the only way. I think maybe only for the playoffs, especially if we're thin, particularly in the left wing position, which sounds impossible, but but there's a lot of players that don't really score on this roster. There's a lot of guys like Nick Bukestad and but Bukestad, Bonino, guys like that don't really score a whole lot. Rask, they'll score here and there. Where Boldy might be able to bring a little bit extra. If Boldy does play, it'll be the postseason, in my opinion. We'll see. And I should comment on some of their other shows as well. I apologize that I haven't. April 1st, that was last week's show. Derek says, got the question on the mind. Tom Haynes shared one in March. Tom Haynes, calling you out. Where are you, buddy? I miss Tom Haynes. Okay. And then Derek shared that Brian Herrera just a couple minutes ago. Thank you. Yep, thank you, Derek. And I guess that's it for that. But I do believe there's more notifications. I think Derek actually responded to Mr. There's plenty of notifications because of last night's crazy game. Wow. There's some anyway. Yep, yeah, Derek, I was saying before Fiala's hat trick, where their hats were still on the couch. After Fiala's hat trick, they're on the floor. Of course, I set that up a certain way, but I had to have fun. Derek was saying, because you can visibly see my NES Classic, SNES Classic, and PlayStation Mini. He said, you didn't have to throw your Nintendo Mini, SNES Mini, and PlayStation Mini, too. And I was telling him, well, luckily, the impact didn't seem to do enough damage, or it didn't do any damage, luckily. There wasn't too much impact. Old Biff from the future was saying, that's awesome, and he joined. Thank you very much. Or followed, and I followed back. Great guy. Jay Bushy says, yep, that was Rossi. Yep. And Justin Baki, yep, this is the response, was saying, yeah, I was disappointed when that came out. This is again about Lindbergh and stuff. He's been playing so well since his return. Yep, that would be, again, Mr. Philip Lindbergh. Derek Felska says, ouch. Carson Gierschwitz had a hat trick against Bemidji State, so no doubt that hurts too for the Minutemen. That really sucks for Lindbergh for sure, and I agree. Yeah, it does suck. I like UMass. Yeah, that was April 7th, so it had just happened. Yep. The bad news. Yep. And Derek was saying, holy crap, for real? Yeah, for real. For real. It sucks. Oh, wow. How did I miss this? See, this is weird. Why didn't this come up? Why didn't this come up when I went to hashtag? So maybe I should rely on notifications instead. I think that's, and it actually is in chronological order. So, I'll continue. Derek Felska says, highly touted prospect Matt Boldy set to make his Iowa debut on Friday. How many points would you expect him to have in his first AHL game? I'm hoping for 2 or 1, but I got a feeling he's going to have like a multi-pointer for some reason. He's going to be excited, ready to show what he can do, and he's going to have a goal and an assist. What do you think of that? That should be fun. There's the preview of the game from Teresa Ferries. Thank you very much. And the preview of last night's. Yep. And I think that's it. Retweets and such. I had several retweets about the hats getting thrown and everything. I really appreciate those of you that retweeted that. I had fun, and I got some new followers last night, which is, it's wonderful. I always appreciate that, and I often follow back. Yep, as long as it's hockey related. It's not just kind of some random person trying to sell something. Lots of likes and all that, throwing the hats and stuff. I have fun with that because I have a ton of hats. I just collect a lot of hats, like I was saying, Hartford and such. North Stars. I mean, back in the day, North Stars, the Hartford Whalers, Calgary Flames. I just love the logos, obviously, and obviously the North Stars were my team. But I liked Hartford and Calgary as well. Calgary had won the Cup just a few years earlier at that stage. They were still a very cool team. They haven't been underachieving like they've been since. And there it is. Yep, April the 3rd. This is since the last show. Derek Felska, Iowa Wild goal. Bryce Misley scores his first AHL goal as he's registered his first point the night before. 4-1 Minnesota Wild mid-third period. FYI, Brave the Wild. And I didn't respond. I must have been at work or something, and it got lost in the notifications. I am so sorry, Derek, but I got it now, and I'm reading it live on the show. I apologize deeply. And Johnny Misley also. Yep, he was retweeting it. Thank you. There's Johnny Misley. Misley. I did it again. And Derek shared the recent episode, how he's saying, I was on a podcast with Paladinolive on his show. Check this out as we talked about all things Minnesota Wild. Yep, that was so cool. Brian Herrera said, thanks for the shout out on your podcast today, although I didn't ask a question, just made a statement. And yeah, that's, questions, comments. So, apologize, Brian. But yeah, you're very welcome for the shout out, and thank you. Keep in touch with the show. I really appreciate it. And I'm saying that sincerely. I'm not just the typical thanks, appreciate it, where they don't really care, How many show hosts out there don't really give a damn? They just pretend like, oh, thanks. They just give you that nothing answer. I hate that with a passion. I do. Derek had shared that one. Retweets. I'm about to wrap up the show. Sorry I'm dragging this at the end here, but I don't know where all the retweets are. But those of you that did retweet the show, I deeply, deeply appreciate it. Thank you always. Yeah, but there's Black Space Gaming giving me a hard time. But hey, good luck this weekend. I have a feeling you might win the whole thing, buddy. I have a feeling you just might. Just might do it. With that said, I'm going to give us a couple final shout-outs. It ended up being kind of a long show, but I was having so much fun. I mean, this was fun. Awesome show. Positive all around for the most part, except for poor Lindbergh and UMass Amherst. Shout-outs to Minnesota Wild Global, Minnesota Wild Nation. Thank you so much for being great friends and all that. Patrick Turner from Minnesota Wild Nation. Minnesota Wild Global, Scott Cavendish, the creator. Chance Kostick, David Kostick, Kathy Main, Michael Fick, Chad Walski, awesome people, David Abraham, and others out there. Always appreciate what you do there. MNW Prospects, already gave out that shout out, but I'll do it again. MNW Prospects, we talk about all the young guys, including prospects that are on the Minnesota Wild roster. Apparently Fiala and Kaprizov are no longer considered prospects, I believe, at this point, and that's fine. They're main players on the Wild now. They don't really need to be prospects. They're leading scorers on the Wild now, so it is what it is. At the end of the day, Pavel Bennett, Justin Bakke, Brandon Quast, all great writers. Again, Brandon Quast writes for Hockey Wilderness. He's outstanding, very talented guy. Miss hearing him on the air with Hockey Gone Wild, of course. I'm very proud to be part of Gone Puck Wild. I write for them. It's just wonderful. It's an absolute pleasure to write about hockey and also doing the podcast and such. Sometimes I just don't have the time to keep up with everything, and the podcast ends up taking the main priority because I'm more of a radio guy than anything, but I do love writing. I really do. At the end of the day, I apologize. I don't write more than I should. To anybody listening, I might be wondering, why don't you write more often? Especially if the guys at Gone Puck Wild are wondering, where is Joey? What's going on here? So apologize for that. With that said, lawn cleanups are going to be starting up any day now, unfortunately. So the release of the show may become sporadic here in the future. I would be able to do it today anyway, even if I was doing cleanups, because it's a wet day. But it might get sporadic here in the future, but I'll do my best to keep up because this team is relevant, and we're going to have a lot of fun here, I think, this spring at the end of the day. With that said, have a great week. Hopefully the Wild continue their winning ways, and I'll be back hopefully Thursday, but if not, maybe a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, or a rainy day after that. Take care, and talk to you then.